As the legendary Jeb Brooks once observed, have you ever noticed how it's always the big airports that get all the attention?
You know, he's taxiing really fast.
Fast for what? There's no open gate.
We'll see. This is very curious.
Well, I think my man Jeb's definitely got a point. Hubs are very much in style these days. They get all the investment because they see the most passengers. But America's smaller airports deserve some love as well, because they too play a key role in connecting their communities with the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Monterey Regional Airport, Mike Romeo Yankee. Located in Monterey, California, which is about 2 hours south of San Francisco, this cute little airport is the gateway to some of America's most stunning natural coastlines. If you like the outdoors, it's a real treat to visit the Central Coast, home to Big Sur, 17-mile drive, Pebble Beach golf links, and the charming towns of Monterey, Carmel by the Sea, and Pacific Grove. But let's talk air travel. Given the proximity to the Bay Area, including San Francisco International, San Jose, and Oakland, most visitors will fly into or out of those main airports, which offer more nonstop flights, more competition, and lower fares. Case in point, if I hop on Google Flights to book a theoretical trip from MRY to New York, the system thinks I'm nuts and suggests I fly out of Oakland instead for about 40% less round trip. That certainly is compelling, but is it worth it? Now, I'm sure this is a decision that many of you have faced before. Shell out a couple bucks to fly local, or suck it up and drive 1 or 2 hours to the hub airport. I'll tell you from personal experience that there's not always a right answer. I help you guys be able to better contemplate or weigh your options when you're deciding what airport to fly into or out of. Let's do a little bit of a case study where we take Monterey Regional as an example and just compare what type of experience you're going to get relative to an SFO. Another example would be like a White Plains Airport versus a JFK or LaGuardia, or maybe like a Greensboro instead of Charlotte, North Carolina, or maybe a Payne Field, Washington versus a Seattle. And so let's just look at what experience you would get. What airlines, what type of planes do they fly? What is the comfort going to be like on these planes? What are you going to find in the terminal? Are there going to be any places for you to grab a bite or a coffee before your flight? What is the service going to be like? How early should you show up to the airport? What are the security lines going to look like? Is there pre-check? Hopefully I can address all these factors just taking you on a tour through Monterey Airport. Let's get on with it. Alright, here we go. It's just after New Year's in 2023, and we're headed back home to Charlotte after an amazing time with the family in San Francisco and Monterey. My original flight home was a non-stop out of SFO, but I ended up staying a couple extra days to see my brother play in a golf tournament, and I miraculously was able to swap my SFO flight to MRY for no extra charge. That was pretty huge because MRY was 10 minutes from our Verbo, SFO was like 1 hour 40 with no traffic, and I was probably gonna have to Uber. We arrived about 8:30 a.m. for our 9:25 a.m. flight, which turned out to be plenty of time. The ticketing hall was refreshingly quiet. MRY is served by only 4 airlines if you don't include JSX. And there are generally 10 to 15 flights per day depending on the season. But as you can see, the other check-in desks are deserted. It's basically just me and the other Phoenix-bound passengers at this time in the morning. After chugging my water and dumping the other half, it was time to proceed through security. Monterey does have pre-check, but not clear, which seems to be a common theme across all the regional airports I've been to recently. Some even just use the same line as general security, but give the pre-check peeps a very official-looking laminated card to distinguish us from the rest of the pack. In this situation, we had our own line, but it didn't really matter, as I was quite literally the only passenger attempting to clear security. This is perk number 1 of the small airport. And it may be obvious, but you don't have to budget as much time for long lines at check-in or security. An airport like Charlotte, on the other hand, the situation is highly unpredictable. You could waltz right through, or you could encounter an hour line, especially if you don't have pre-check. But back at MRY, we've just cleared security, and we'll soon encounter perk number 2. Your gate will be no more than a 5-minute walk from anywhere in the terminal. It's also nearly impossible to get lost. There are 5 gates here with 2 main seating areas. If you proceed left out of security, you'll find gates 1 through 3, which seem to be mostly used by American. If you're flying Alaska, Allegiant, or United, you'll probably be using gate 4 or 5, both of which are located on the opposite side of the terminal. Given the next flight out of this area wasn't until 1 p.m. on Alaska, it was completely deserted. Now let's talk amenities. There are no lounges here, no minute suites, no name brand eateries. If you want a coffee or a bite or a drink before your flight, you've got one option, and that's Woody's Cockpit Snack Shop and Bar. The selection in here is pretty decent. No matter your dietary preferences, you should find something in here suitable for breakfast. On the food side, they got bagels, pastries, Greek yogurt, hard-boiled eggs, and protein bars. On the drink side, they got juices, energy drinks, sodas, milk, carbonated and non-carbonated water, most importantly, coffee. Now, you won't find any barista-made espresso drinks around here, but they do have drip coffee, obviously, and also what I'd consider to be way better than drip coffee, cold brew. This Woody's Illy collab was an absolute game changer. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about these diabetes in a bottle drinks with creamer and a pound of sugar. We're talking good old-fashioned black Java in a can, supposedly cold brewed for 12 hours. I grabbed 2 of those guys, one for Monterey to Phoenix and one for Phoenix to Charlotte. Now, in my view, you really only need 4 things to be productive before a flight: a place to sit or stand, a source of caffeine, a 120-volt power outlet, and an internet connection. But that's just me. What do you need to be productive in an airport? Let me know in the comments. Now, luckily, Monterey had all those boxes checked. Would I have wanted to spend the entire day in there? Probably not, but it certainly got the job done for the hour I was there. All right, time to head over to gate 2 for boarding today, where you run into what I consider perk number 3 of small airports: boarding via air stairs, or air ramp in this situation. Jet bridges are certainly less common, and although it's a minor inconvenience in bad weather, they're really just not needed here given most of the commercial planes are regional jets. Here are the planes you'll encounter at MRY as of July 2023, from smallest to largest. United CRJ 200 serving SFO, coming in at 50 seats. 2, the CRJ 700 operated by United and American, serving Los Angeles and Phoenix respectively, coming in at 66 seats. Number 3, the Embraer 175 operated by Alaska, American, and United, serving Seattle, San Diego, Phoenix, Denver, LA, and San Francisco. And coming in at a whopping 156 seats for Allegiant and 128 for American, the monstrous Airbus A319 serving Las Vegas, Dallas, and Phoenix. Now, of course, the air traffic isn't just limited to these planes. Chances are you'll encounter a private jet or two given the proximity to world-class golf and ridiculously priced real estate. I'm aware of several big Bay Area financial firms that hold client events at Pebble Beach, and they sure ain't flying commercial. The general aviation ecosystem is supported by 2 world-class FBOs, or fixed base operators: Monterey Jet Center and Del Monte Aviation, the former of which was named the #1 FBO in the US by Professional Pilot in 2022. So yeah, not necessarily relevant to the commercial traveler, but it's certainly an integral part of the operation here at MRY, accounting for about 20% of 2022 revenues. So it's not immaterial. But anyways, let's get on board our ride for today. November 748 Sierra Kilo, a roughly 18-year-old Bombardier CRJ 700, originally delivered to SkyWest in 2005. This plane holds 66 passengers across 2 cabins. We got 3 rows of first class in a 1-2 layout, and 15 rows of economy in a 2-2 layout. I forget what seat I was in, but it was a normal economy seat. The legroom was pretty standard at 31 inches, basically what you'd find in one of American's bigger mainline planes. Now, boarding of course is quicker and less painful on smaller planes, which is a plus, but the overhead bins are teeny, meaning you'll have to gate check most suitcases that would normally fit in the bins of those larger mainline planes that fly out of bigger airports. Now, to be clear, this is an issue primarily with the CRJs just due to the small overhead bin dimensions, but you may have to gate check on the E170s and A319s too, if you board late and there isn't enough overhead bin space left. That's a small price to pay in my opinion. I thought flying out of Monterey was a really refreshing experience that I think extends to many other regional airports like it: Charlottesville, Knoxville, Akron-Canton, Rapid City, and many others. It can be more convenient and hassle-free. They create jobs and revenue for the cities they serve, but there certainly is a trade-off as a passenger. You're probably going to pay more for your ticket, the pre-flight experience is likely to be more bare bones, and you're prone to longer delays and cancellations due to the lower frequency of flights and smaller planes. I'm going to wrap things up here. I hope you guys found this interesting, and a shout out to all the people who make air travel to these smaller cities possible.
So you're a blogger, right?
A very amateur one, yeah.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. I used to, but
Like I said at the beginning, smaller airports are often forced to do more with less. In our situation, there was only one guy who was handling both check-in and boarding for our flight. So he was juggling a lot, but he did an awesome job and definitely deserves a pat in the back. Thanks for coming along. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And hope everyone has an awesome day. So long from the Central Coast.